Right, Kelly, to start with, we'll mainly focus on England's semi-final against Sweden, but I mean we've got to talk about that England-Spain game, and I mean what a thrilling match it was. How would you sum it up a few days on?
How would I sum that performance up? I think it was a character test for England. It's probably the toughest game that they've had in the tournament so far, and they really stood up to the challenges that Spain possessed in terms of ball possession. They had to stay really concentrated, not dive in, stand up, be tight and compact in defence, and take their chances when they came. And with 8 minutes to go, I'm sitting here on my couch at home thinking, oh no, they're going out. But I think just the resilience that they showed, the substitutes that come on really had an impact. And managed to tie it up and take it into extra time. So yeah, really pleasing for the side to reach the semi-finals.
How much does it show about their belief that everything that the players have been saying since, they're like, honestly, we never thought we were losing? And how much do you think it's kind of convincing themselves that that was the case? Because I mean, it was 5 minutes to go and they were 1-0 down.
Yeah, well, I think that just goes to show the belief that they have within this squad, the fighting spirit, the togetherness that we've seen throughout the tournament. I thought they were going out, but I'm sitting here as a fan watching from home. But yeah, really pleasing to think that they had it, and they, the subs, as I said before, changed the impact and impacted the game. And I don't think Spain's substitutes helped them. They were a little bit more defensive. England then had the upper hand. That gave them more belief. So yeah, they just went on and grew from strength to strength, especially in the latter stages of that extra time.
And you mentioned the substitutions there. Going into this semi-final against Sweden, then what do you think that Sarina Wiegman might have learned tactically that she might implement perhaps from the start for this next game?
Tactically, it's going to be a different game going into Sweden. I expect both teams to have equal, if not England, more possession, because Sweden are a very transitional side. I still think England should play the way that they've been playing, pressing in those right areas as a front three, keeping the team higher up the pitch. I think Sweden, for me, haven't really wowed me, if I'm honest. I think they lack creating space with movement in the final third, especially when teams play quite low. I wasn't that impressed with them against Belgium, but they managed to score before taking it to extra time. So they have that belief and character and never say die attitude, the same as England. But for Sweden, I think they need to bring out their A game against England, because England are flying.
You mentioned as well that the substitutions making all the difference in England's win in the quarterfinals. Just how much difference has that made compared to the previous runs to the semis that England are trying to go that one step further now? Players like Alex Greenwood that can't get in the starting 11.
Yeah, she come on and she's so good and calm in possession. I think England needed that calmness. Jill Scott come on, did a job with her experience to bring that kind of caliber of player off the bench, over 100 caps, so much tournament experience. Again, just to look around and just know that she's on the pitch gives the team a boost. And then obviously Ella Toone, that creativity, that little magician that she is in the middle. Russo, these are big players that come on and can change the format of the game for England in a positive way. I don't think any sub that's come on recently has had a bad game. They've really contributed to the team, which is why England are in the position that they are. It's not just the starting 11, it's the players that Sarina's bringing in make an impact.
And just a word on Sarina Wiegman, because there's going to be a lot talked about that. What's the difference for England in this semi-final, whether it's that English football's moved on over a period of years, squad depth and things like that. But how much difference is it the manager? Because who else would have, with 30 minutes to go, have taken off your best player in the tournament so far, leading the Golden Boot race, your all-time leading goal scorer, and swap them for two young players when you're losing against Spain?
Yeah, I think that's just the confidence that she has in the bench and the squad depth. I think she's got a calmness about her, which then breeds through to the players on the pitch. She's not erratic. She's very composed, and she believes in her team, and they've gone out and delivered on every occasion to date. So going into this Sweden game, I don't see, too much difference. I think she'll probably play the starting team again, because she doesn't like to change that, as we've seen in the tournament so far. But I just think, yeah, she's been there, she's done it, she's experienced, and I don't think England have had a manager like this so far, with that much tournament experience. And every interview that I've seen from the England players, they just seem to love Sarina in terms of the information that she gives to the players. It seems like there's a real good buzz around the camp. Everything that I've seen on social media in their downtime, they're either playing basketball, darts, watching TV, playing video games, volleyball. It seems like they're allowed to relax and kind of get away from the game. Because when you're in tournament football, it's really difficult because you're away from your friends, your family. Yeah, you see them at the games up, after, but it's a tough time to be away when you're with that squad of players for that amount of time. So it seems as though they're getting the balance right on the training pitch, and then obviously time away from the game, which is good going into this game.
You talk about that, the balance right of sort of the tournament pressure, and Sarina having been there and done it. So have you. You were part of that last England team that did make it to a major tournament final. What is it like playing in a semi-final, and also what's it like, that feeling when you know that you've got to the final?
It's do or die. You've got to go out and you've got to perform to the highest level that you can. But I think England have bagged up this experience and confidence and belief from day one against Austria. They've really learned a tremendous amount of playing in front of packed stadiums. I really think they benefit having the crowd behind them as their 12th woman, so to speak. And there'll be nerves going into this game because, it's you have to win the game to reach the final. Sweden are ranked second in the world. They're the highest ranked team. So you would say Sweden are the favourites going in, if you're going on FIFA world rankings. But these two teams know each other quite well over the years. I've played against Sweden a number of times, and they've always been very, very organised, good defensively, very well set up, and they've got players that can hurt you. I think against Belgium, their attacking line didn't really click, so to speak. I thought Rolfo was really quiet. Aslani was lively, but it didn't really seem to be happening for them. So I think if Sweden are to get anything out of this game, those three players, Black, Stinius, need to really improve this game.
And from an England perspective then, where do you see the game being won and lost?
I think England have to stop a lot of Sweden's transition. They're very fast on the counter-attack. I think Black Stinius is knocking on the door. She had a goal disallowed for offside. I think it was so narrow, it was like her elbow that was just off. But she's strong, powerful. She likes to run in behind, as we've seen with her runs for Arsenal. But then, the England players know about her because they play in the same league. I think the battle potentially would be won in the midfield. I think Keira Walsh is going to be a real link. She's had a fantastic tournament so far. Not too many people are praising her. I think she's been outstanding, but so have so many other players. England's strengths, we know that, are down the widths with Hemp and Mead going 1v1s and getting crosses in. And obviously another strength is their substitutions, with Russo coming on and having an impact with 3 goals so far. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this one play out.
We've done this every column so far. I mean, before the tournament, you must be sitting pretty happy. You said England to win it, but watch out for Sweden. So it's a win-win for you, really. But how do you see this one going?
It's going to be a tight affair, cagey for both sides. But I just think England are in a really good mental place right now. Everything seems to be clicking. Even if, you take your Ellen White or Beth Mead off, you've got players that can come on and impact. So I just think England have the strength and depth of their squad, and I see England doing this on Tuesday night.
And I know this is a dangerous game, getting too far ahead of ourselves. So let's say either England or Sweden, but in the other semi-final, Germany against France, then how do you anticipate that one going? And who do you think the winner of the first semi would rather play?
I think if you're England, you don't care. If you put yourself in the final, you're in there, and whoever you meet, you know that you've secured your place. Both teams are extremely talented. Out the two teams, France and Germany, I've probably been impressed more with Germany. I think they've looked solid from the start, really good defensively, organised. I love their midfield three of the Brits, McGill and Oberdorf. I think they're very well balanced. They like to control the tempo of the game. Alex Popp wasn't a starter in the tournament, but she is now due to 4 goals in 4 games. That experience that she brings the team is second to none. And I think Germany are very threatening down their wings too, with Huth on the right and Clara Ball. I just think the crosses that they put in, and they just like to create so many chances for Pop. So they, for me, are the more threatening team. But then France have kind of started kind of slow and then got better as the tournament's gone on. Obviously losing their main striker, Katoto, hasn't really impacted them to some extent, because they look strong against Holland. They created so many chances. I like Diani. I think she's stepped up when Katoto's gone out. Who else? Selma Baka really looked hungry for it and changed the impact of that game. She brought intensity to the French side, providing lots of combinations and movements inside and out, and showing tenacity in her defending. So it's going to be a tough tie, I think. Renard up against Pop is certainly one to watch. You know, Renard's had so much experience, Champions League winner, over 100 caps for a French national team. She really galvanizes the defense for the French team. So it's going to be a tough game, really tasty one. But I'm leaning probably more towards Germany because of how they've sustained a good level all the way through.
England-Germany final, just like you called about 2 weeks ago. So yeah, fingers crossed for that.
Yeah, let's pray. I'd love to see that final. Just there's so much history over the years, both in men's and women's, and I think it will be electric at Wembley if that was to happen.